Good evening, YouTube. AJ here. Before I start this video, I actually want to throw out a shout out to a channel that I've been watching. I've been watching a lot of random YouTube channels that are still prepper based, but they're small and just have some interesting twists to them. And one of them that I've been watching quite a bit and I find very interesting is Prepper Tribe. The guy has a lot of good content. He's entertaining because he puts a lot of comedy into it, and the beginning of his YouTube videos are extremely interesting, I think, because if you just look at the prepper mindset or people that are into prepping, when you hear the beginning of his channel, it really kind of makes you want to start listening. It's a very good introduction. So check him out over there at Prepper Tribe. So with that being said, I'm going to move into what I was wanting to talk about tonight, which is that once again I found out that I had fallen short on some of my preps, one of which is making sure that my donkey had some extra preps. So for people with grass burners, better known as horses, any kind of livestock or donkeys, if you're using them to help protect your herd or your livestock or anything like that, or you just have them as pets, this kind of just goes along those kind of lines. Just make sure you have the proper stuff for them. So Storm and Norman, which is our donkey, he was having some issues the other day. He had a real runny nose. He just wasn't being himself. He was kind of beat down sick, and my wife started taking care of him, medicating him, and making some stuff for him to try to get him back up to health, to get him back where he needed to be. And so when she did that, she was using penicillin, of course, but she mixed it with not only just the shot, but she was mixing different feed for him, which was, unsweetened applesauce. The beet pellets, once again, which she made more into like a mush for him because he was having some issues eating apparently, and he was just kind of just bad off. And then, of course, barley, which we have leftovers of because she made enough, of course, to do several different days worth of doing all this stuff. And after she had done all this stuff, it turned out to be really good. He's pretty much back up to 100%, it seems like. He's braying again, responding, coming out, and being the donkey he is. So, what's that? Yep, and chasing the deer. That's one of the donkey's favorite things to do is run off my deer. So he's being Norman again, which is a good thing. He's became part of the family. We've had him a long time, and donkeys live a long time. So, it's good to be able to know that you're ready to take care of them. So, anyways, moving on from that, prepping for the livestock or the donkey or whatever you're looking at is a major thing that I kind of dropped the ball on, and now I'm trying to move forward with, making a little bit better preps for him, I guess, or whatever. But it's mainly because when we were doing this stuff, I didn't realize I was a little short on some things. And I would basically encourage anybody that has any livestock, hay burners or donkeys or anything like that, to go ahead and get some of these items and research what you need to have these items. I would definitely recommend you guys getting this stuff and stockpiling a little bit, because when shit hits the fan, it's going to suck if you don't have the proper things to take care of your animals. So, like wound care sprays and antiseptics and gauzes, things like that to cover the wounds and all that fun stuff. You need to make sure you have those things on hand and plenty of it, because if you can't get to the store to get more of that, all these things, it's just going to be a bad deal. So make sure you have the wound care spray, the gauze, the wraps, all them things of those sort, all them things. Then we'll move into like penicillin, warmers, other topical sprays for like flies, ticks, all the nuisance insects that you guys are going to have, that we always have every year. And anybody with livestock or anything like that, that it is always a pain in your butt. And diatomaceous earth. Yes, very good. Yes, ma'am. So yes, just like my wife said, diatomaceous earth. It's a huge deal for many, many things. It just really, man, I can't think of enough. I can't think of all the things it actually covers. I know it's good for fleas, ticks. Heck, I think even internally, it's. You just need to do some research on diatomaceous earth, and it's good for your gardens, everything like that. So it doubles up for your livestock and your garden, all that good stuff. So, dang it, dear, now I can't remember. I think I was at penicillin, so I talked about the penicillin, warmers, and topicals. Thank you, but I forgot where I was at. So, getting on past that, we'll move into like the fly strips or them nasty ass little containers that you put the stinky stuff in, and flies are extremely attracted to it. That stuff is very good to have on hand too. For one, the containers, you can reuse them. You just put all kinds of random stuff. We've used beer, rotten food, all kinds of stuff you put into these containers. It attracts flies. It's a pretty simple concept on that. But fly strips, things like that are a little easier, and they're not as stinky and they're not as messy. Those are ideal, but it just depends on how many you can get and how many you can store as compared to the containers that actually catch the flies in them. I would prefer the fly strips because it's not as gross, but it is what it is, especially when you are in a situation where you may not be able to get everything that you're really wanting to get. So then moving forward from there, we get into extra blankets and eye covers and things like that. So if you have horses or even donkeys, a good cover for them is nice during the winter time. I mean, they even have homemade ones you can make out of tarps and canvas and stuff like that. But just, something especially if they are ill or something, it gets them a little bit extra warmth and all that good stuff. And a lot of people throw blankets on their horses anyways. And it's not even a blanket, it's kind of like an overcoat for a horse, I guess. But the eye covers, that helps them keep flies off their eyes, and also it's a good blinder for doing different things. And then that gets into like the wraps that go on their legs to keep the flies, because anybody that owns horses or donkeys or cattle, anything like that, the lower legs are always getting hammered by flies. So it's nice to have something that you can put over there to keep the dang flies off of there and have your animal just in a lot better condition and not being miserable from flies eating on them and stuff like that. So with that being said, you want to keep that, it's like a pink clown medicine or rub. You put it on around their ears and everything like that, and all around their legs. And it typically is pink, but it's really good at keeping flies off. And actually, I think that's the name of it, is flies off. But it's really, do what, babe? Yeah, it's an ointment that just you put on and it helps keep the flies off. They have sprays and stuff like that. The pink stuff I like because you can kind of tell when it's rubbing off or wearing off. So those types of things are great to have extra of on hand for tending to these animals and, just keeping the pests off of them and keeping them in as best shape and condition as you can. So all this stuff is just good to have on hand. And then I'm going to move into hooves. So if you don't know how to properly care for hooves, now is probably a really good time to learn, because it's a bad thing to learn afterwards, because you actually need somebody that really knows what they're doing to teach you how to do this. And you want to make sure that these animals have proper hoof care. It's vital for them. It's a huge deal for them to have proper hoof care. So you want to learn from somebody that really knows what they're doing, and you really want to pay good attention to how you're learning it. You want to get the proper tools to do it, and you want to learn how to properly set them up, basically, to where you can do it without getting yourself injured, because not only is this dangerous for you, it's dangerous for your animals as well. If you don't do proper hoof care, it's very dangerous for them, but as you're doing proper hoof care, it is dangerous for you. And so, like, my wife is the one that actually knows how to do that a lot more so than I do. I just kind of, when we were doing it, I was helping her to try to stay out of the line of danger as much as possible. I've seen a guy get kicked in the head by a donkey, and I hate to laugh, but, that experience wasn't that bad. There's been some that were horrible. Ours wasn't that bad. It was actually really impressive. The guy got kicked in the head. His hat went up sideways and crooked. And he just stood up and said, well, I guess we got a really good understanding now, and went back to work. And I thought, well, I'm for sure paying this guy after we're done, because...
He was an actual farrier.
But yes, he was a farrier, and he knew what he was doing, but, you know, and just with that sentence there, that tells you how dangerous it was. It is. This guy, that's what he did for a living. That's how he made his living. That's what he did. And he still got kicked in the head. Now, like he said after the fact, the donkey, if he wanted to hurt him, he would have. He was giving him a love tap, which it didn't sound like a love tap. It sounded dang solid. They can see all 4 feet, so if they kick you, they mean to. And you just got to keep in mind when you're doing stuff like that, that there is real true dangers in that. So when and if you're going to try to learn to do some hoof care, you really need to put some serious thought into it and make sure that you are getting properly trained to do it, to make sure that your animal's safe and to make sure that you're safe doing so. So hopefully that's a little bit of help to you guys. And then just to kind of wrap it up, I guess, is hopefully you guys have a backup generator and stuff like that, so that, or some kind of backup power, so that if you're keeping these medications and other things, you can keep them at the temperature they need to be at. You know, a lot of these medications need to be refrigerated, and then some of them can just need to be kept in like a cooler environment, like say permethrin, which permethrin is really good for, you know, applications around the yard, on your house, on your barn, things like that, you know, for fleas, ticks, flies, spiders. Yeah, there's literally a whole list. If you look that up, there is a whole list of stuff of what permethrin actually covers and protects against and everything like that. So it's actually a really good thing. I think you can even put it directly on them, correct?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so
Do it in moderation.
So in moderation, you can apply it directly to the animal, which if you read the instructions, it's all in there. It tells you exactly how to do it, how much to do it. That to me is one that is a very, very good thing to have on hand, because it has so many different uses and keeps just a lot of the insects that you don't want around you away, especially during a SHTF situation. You don't want them anyways, but if it's a bad situation, you really don't need the hassle of all these other insects and things all over. Yeah, exactly. So I intend on trying to get a couple of years worth of supplies for, as far as medical and stuff like that, the stuff that'll last a couple of years. And also the feed, I intend on trying to get as big of a supply as possible, as I can possibly. Like the feed for us around here, we have ample room, so it's easily done. And then if you don't feed it, you can always put it on your garden. You can always use it to spread around the yard, just to make your yard soil a lot better. Even some of it can be used for bedding and stuff like that. So there's enough uses, and plus I got enough people around me that feed other animals that it's not an issue if I decided to get plenty of that and I just didn't use it all. I'm still good. So anyways, I'm sure I missed plenty of things in this video that you should have on hand for, you know, your livestock, donkeys, stuff like that. So if anybody wouldn't mind, you know, please comment, let me know what I missed. Typically I use my wife, which she was kind of listening half-assed, so she is the one that usually knows most of that stuff and kind of keeps us on the straight and narrow of, you know, what we need for the donkey and everything, but and the other livestock. But if I did miss anything, please let me know down in the comments. That's the handiest part about the comments. It helps me grow, it helps me learn, it helps everybody that's watching this learn and grow, because the people in the comments give good suggestions, and then you move forward from there and you just learn a little bit more. So that's pretty much it for the night, except for I'm going to show you one other thing and tell you guys, please, once again, check out Prepper Tribe. I think you guys will enjoy it, and hopefully this was somewhat helpful. And just to show you guys kind of the donkey, which is almost silly but still kind of fun, which the light is crazy, but there he is with the grandbaby and the wife, and up there is Stormin' Norman. We've had him for a good minute. He's a heck of a guy, and he's well worth putting on the video. He's made our farmstead well worth having, not only just because he's really cool to be around, but he does his job. He's not afraid of anything, and he follows you around like a dog. They are
great sense of humor.
Yeah, Yes, I don't want to talk about his sense of humor. So, anybody, I guess, real quick, while she said that now, anybody that has never owned a donkey, they actually, to me, have a great sense of humor. So, there's been several examples, but one I'll use is just patching some barbed wire fence, and I'm out there, and I was pulling on it, tugging on it, and kind of lost my balance a little bit and fell on my butt, and kind of cussed a little bit, and the donkey was standing there watching me, and he started braying and throwing his head around, and I'm assuming he thought it was funny, so they're... Yeah, that's what it seemed like. He was laughing and having a good old time. So they seem like they got a good personality, and you know they're not even supposed to be a good pet, basically, but especially a male donkey. Exactly, he's a jackass. He's not cut or anything like that. So they're supposed to not actually be for a pet or really around kids and stuff like that, but. This guy, man, he's been great with our kids. He's great with the grandbaby. Everybody loves him. So he's well worth having up on the wall and well worth talking about. Stalking for. Definitely well worth stalking for. I don't know what we would do without him around here. From coyotes to raccoons to possums. Every little thing that wants to come up in this yard, they got to deal with him. And most of them really... don't want to deal with him because he usually wins.
So tell about the video about the donk that took the cougar.
Oh yeah, and if you guys want to see how good a donkey truly is, look up a video. I seen it in my coon hunting magazine, which is nighttime. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but anyways, it was called A True Badass, and it was talking about a donkey. And all the pictures where it killed this cougar, and the dogs are literally sitting there watching this donkey whoop this cougar, 200-pound cougar, beat him down, toss him up in the air, stomp on him, kick him, bite him. He ended up killing the cougar. So that's the proof in the pudding, I guess, as they say, that donkeys are truly badass, and they are good protectors, and they're well worth having around your homestead. So kind of digressing from the point of this, but... like we said, he's well worth talking about. So check into donkeys for your livestock then, I guess, is another spin on this. Check them out. They're a very reliable, very worthy thing to have on your farm. So please hit the like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and do the same for Prepper Tribe. Get over there, check him out, like, share, subscribe to him. Thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a good night.